Greetings. Welcome back to another cup of conversation with me, Nidra Simmons. I hope that you all had a wonderful weekend. It's Monday, the start of another week. I am coming on to just, first of all, give honor and glory to Mother, Father, Universe, God, for being so awesome and so wonderful, for waking us up to see another day. Thank you for the food in which we receive as nourishment for our bodies this morning and throughout the day. Thank you for just protecting us while we were sleeping and waking us up with new grace and new mercies. Again, thank you, God, for just being so awesome and continue to provide for us mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, financially, in every way possible. Continue to keep us, keep our peace, renew our minds, body, heart, soul, and spirit. Keep us in the spirit of excellence. Order our steps. Order my steps. Direct my path, dear Heavenly Father, as well as the others. Thank you for just being so wonderful. I am forever grateful for all that you do. Thank you for loving me, even when I didn't love myself. And thank you for loving me better than anybody can. Also giving much gratitude and respect to my big brother Jesus, to all archangels, guardian angels, all angels in the highest, Christ the light, ancestors, guardian ancestors, spirit team here and far. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for letting me know that I am never, ever alone. Ever alone. Thank you, God. Thank you, spirit team. All right, everybody out there. This week has been a very, very, very interesting and emotional and body activating week to the point to where I can't explain all that I was feeling, but I can explain what the gist of this week took place and happened for me. And it may have happened to you out there, so if you feel free to want to share, feel free and share. But this week was a very intense week to where I was brought back to my childhood, to my youth. And I was reminded of all the things that I have overcame and all the things that I have went through and things that I am completely over, but still can remember as if it was yesterday when I blocked it to the point to where I didn't have to remember it. But I'm going to share with you some of the things that had took place in my life. When I was, and I had a conversation with someone too, and it was like I had vomit of the mouth. It was just, I was just explaining everything about my past. And I had no idea that all that stuff was just sitting there, because I would sit there and think, because every now and then when I reflect, I reflect back about, things that I'm over, so that there's no hidden things that's going to come up and attack me or, hit me off guard. But as I was sitting there, it bothered me a little bit, enough for me to bring it out, but I'm over it, so it's not like I'm feeling guilty about all the stuff that took place, because I'm over it. Been there, done that, moved on, passed through it, and I'm so much of a better person for that. So some of the things that happened to me when I was young, I started working at a very early age. I started working at 9 years old. Now, granted, my 9-year-old job was me under a babysitter, but still, I was working and I got paid for doing things around the house, like helping, not my house, but the babysitter house. I would help her with the babies, because she babysitted other kids too. Feed the kids, change diapers, pass her diapers, help her cook. She would show me how to make these things called jelly cakes, which is regular cake with jelly on it instead of regular frosting. But, she taught me a lot of things. I miss her. But that was so long ago. But anyway, the point that I'm trying to make is, and that was a good memory of my childhood right there, so kudos for that. But me as a child, I was very developed early, meaning I could be 15, but people might mistake me as 19 or 21, just based off of my development. I had everything a grown woman had at a very early age. So, and I lived in a project, so my mom, I believe, tried to keep me safe by keeping me guarded. So I had to always be somewhere so that nobody would be looking at me when she's working, or whatever the case might be. That's my interpretation of it. She can tell you something different. That's up to her. But the point that I'm making is, because I was fully developed, I was looked at differently. Now, I have brothers, But my brothers and I don't have that relationship that I was looking for, that I think sisters and brothers should have. Like, I see people nowadays who are related, have brothers and sisters, and they look after your brother and your sister. They teach them stuff. So if you're older, you're going to teach your sister about guys. In my mind now, this is my interpretation of what I think brothers and sisters should be doing. They'll be able to teach you different things, tell you what to look out for, not just say, don't mess with my friends. I don't mean like that. I mean simply say, don't mess with this person because this is what guys want to do. This is what guys look at, and different things like that. I didn't have that. I didn't have a father in my life to tell me, sweetheart, you're beautiful. You need to don't get involved with that person. This is what they're doing. Reading between the lines for me so that I don't have to try to interpret what I think they're saying to me. Come flat out and say, this is what they're really saying, although this is what you're hearing. That is what I had wished that I had when I was growing up. I didn't have that. And it's okay. I'm not mad about that, because you know what? You can't teach somebody something you don't know. My father wasn't around for me or my brother, so he couldn't explain stuff to them about those things. And, so we had to go and live life based off of what we were dealt in our experiences and our own interpretations of what we thought, our own perceptions, which, I don't know if you know what I feel about perceptions, but perception is a very, very thin, layered topic, because it's not an indefinite thing. It's all about what somebody else thinks. So you're never going to get the true feeling of it unless it's what you agree to. But anyway, back to what I'm saying. So when I was younger, I had friends that would have, like say me and my other friends, if we were walking down the street, my friends would get that type of treatment. They'll school them on what brothers or guys should be doing or shouldn't be doing. I, on the other hand, was looked at as the object one. So in other words, they were the ones that they would educate. I was the one that would freak. Okay? And I'm saying freak, but I would be the one that they would look at and target as someone that they would do. But I didn't have enough respect and love for myself at that time, so I did not use it to my advantage. I wish I had a lot of confidence back then, because I would have looked a lot different now, and my mindset would have been a lot different. I wouldn't have been dealing with a lot of stuff. But because there are so many things, or so many people, or so many, family members, people, whatever, that didn't care for me in that manner, I had to go through life head on, dealing with the situation instead of being taught. So experience was my teacher, for real, for real, for real. So, to each his own. That just makes me stronger. That just makes me more able to talk about what I talk about, because I've experienced a lot of stuff. So anyway, the point that I'm trying to make, some more stuff about me and my youth. I used to work, so being that I was 9 years old when I started working, it didn't take long before I started working and do other things. So I did work. I had a newspaper route, and then I started working into actual places like Wendy's and CVS and Barnes and Nobles. So I started working in regular jobs, and then as soon as I finished high school, I moved out into my own place. So I graduated that summer. And then I moved in my apartment within weeks later, my first apartment. So I was very young when I moved out of my mother's house. So, but anyway, the point that I'm trying to make is I was looked at as a target at a very early age. And so I didn't have a car. I didn't get my license until I was like maybe 20-something years old. I already had my first child. I think 24, 25 is when I first got my license. My mother never had a car. She had a car at one point, but not long enough for me to learn how to drive. I had friends that tried to teach me how to drive a car, but I didn't feel confident because I didn't have much confidence in me. So I would get rides from people. Now that turned into a mistake, but and this is why to this day I tell my kids, anywhere you want to go, you tell me, and I would drive. And then my kids take advantage of that mess. If they want to go anywhere, I'm gonna take them, because I want to make sure they're safe. Because for the simple fact that every time that I looked for people to give me a ride, and I would even offer to pay gas money to give them rides to go wherever they wanted to go, I would not be looked at as an individual in that car. I would be looked at as a fill-up doll, whatever you want to call it. It became a point to where, in order for me to get a ride, I would either have to give them a kiss, or they have to touch my breast, or they have to put their hands in my pants. it was like, why am I doing a trade for this when all I want is a ride to work? If you are already in a situation, why are you trying to get your little touches off on me? So I got so sick and tired of that. But that went on for years though, because I didn't get my license until I was 25. So I didn't like it. And I want to clarify something, because I had a conversation with somebody, but then I thought about it afterwards. And this is what I'm going to give you the statement first. Anytime somebody touches you unwillingly, or you don't want them to, and they do it anyway, even if they are older than you and they have a way of manipulating words to get what they want anyway, and if you know that that person doesn't want to do it, they'll tell you they don't want to do it, because I said I don't want to do it. But I have to get to work. I have to get to work. I got to get home. I got bills to pay, because this went up all the way up until I had children and I had bills to pay, and I've been on my own for an early age. I have to get to work. If I can't, if I'm working outside the hours of the buses or the cabs, whatever the case might be, I have to get to work. My mindset was I have to work to take care of my household by any means necessary. Wrong mindset to have. You need to have morals, values, and boundaries, and respect for yourself. So the more that went on, already whatever little respect that I had for myself was just diminished. It was just gone. So I did what in my mind what I had to do to take care of my family so that I can keep going. So I won't mention no names. No need to mention no names of these people. They know who you are if you ever see my video. But it was a lot of different people that would just try to get off on, so that they would give me a ride. It was to the point where I didn't want to ask for rides. I walked all the time. I did a lot of walking. But when I couldn't walk, because I moved from one town to another, I lived in Norwalk, I worked in Norwalk, lived in Stanford. I can't walk from Norwalk to Stanford, not at no 12 o'clock at night. But anyway, I had to deal with a lot of stuff like that. And then broke the cattle, broke the whatever. The point of where I broke and said, this is definitely no more. I was working one night at my job, and I called my husband at the time, and he would not come and get me. So then someone offered to give me a ride, and instead of taking me home, they took me to their home, and they told me they won't bring me to my home until I do something for them. Now, this might be a trigger something, and my kids, I don't know if I ever told them this story, but I'm telling it to help somebody else, not to be disrespectful or anything to my family. So anyway, I did what they suggested, because I need to get home. At this time, I am married, and this time I have a child. And it was a simple thing for my husband to do. And I'm not blaming him. I blame myself for this, because I kept it within for years. I didn't even tell him. I had to twist the story. But anyway, so I went to the dude's house because I had no choice. I'm not going to jump out of a highway to go and run home. I did, in my mindset, what I thought was right. So that's why I gave my disclaimer. If a woman say they don't want to do nothing, and you do it anyway, and then you give them no choice, that's considered, I think, rape. Now, no, he didn't beat me over the head to try to make me do it, but I could not get home. He held me hostage. So in my mindset, for me to be protected, and I'm not a person that is wanting all the attention, so I was very passive. I told him I don't want to do this. But then he was like, I'm not taking you home. And this time, I can tell you the locations. Bridgeport was a very bad area. This is in Bridgeport, Connecticut. This is why I don't care for Bridgeport. And it was bad crime. It was high crime rate out there, and I'm not walking around Bridgeport, and I'm not even near my home. I lived in Stanford at this time. So I did what he suggested. He brought me home 4 o'clock in the morning. When I came out the elevator to get to my house, my apartment, my husband was out there changing the locks on the door. He thought I purposely went out there and cheated. So I didn't say nothing. I led him to believe that I had to suck up all my emotions or whatever took place for me that night and cater to him. I didn't have to. That's what I did. Because in my mindset, I felt that it was my fault. I shouldn't have gotten in the car with the person. It would never happen if I got in the car. So anyway, it happened. I catered to him that whole day. I didn't get no sleep that day because I remember he was so mad and thought that I purposely would cheat on him. But if he would have came and picked me up, none of this would have happened. But it wasn't his fault. It wasn't my fault. It was the other person's fault for putting me in a situation like that. But anyway, the point that I want to continue on is this past week has been a reflection of my youth. And I want to share this with you in case somebody is out there. So anyway, I made it back home. I had to hold on to my emotions and my feelings. And I catered to my husband so that, let him get all his anger out. He got mad, punched a hole in the wall because he thought that I purposely went out and cheated on him instead of going to work and trying to find my way home. So, okay, so that happened. And I'm talking about it more now because I'm over it. I really am over it. I don't condone any of that stuff. But anyway, I that happened. And let me get back to where my point is, because I was talking about my youth and sharing about, I was being reflected on my youth this week. And so that was one incident that took place. And all of the fill up things, the guys wanting to get something off of me to take me to my destination. Because anyway, let me refocus, because now I feel like I'm stuttering because I'm at another place now and I stopped. But anyway, I hope y'all still here with me. All right, so that was something that took place. And I said that was what broke the camel's back. So I decided to go ahead and get my license. I didn't want no more of this stuff. I was sick of it because I'm not a piece of meat. I am so much more. But at that time, I could not recognize that. I could not appreciate myself enough because I had been so chipped at until I was very little. My confidence, whatever little bit of confidence I was trying to gain or thought I had, was being chipped away. But I got my license and I started driving my own car. And I didn't have to worry about that no more. And then when I said, okay, then when my kids got of age and they wanted to go places, even to this day, I'm skeptical if I can't take them. So I try to be wherever I can to take them wherever I can. There's some cases I can't because I still have to work. But for the most part, I try my best to make sure that I'm taking them where they got to go. So if people ever wonder, well, you taking all those drives, you doing all that for you better let them kids do some stuff on their own. I do let them do a lot on their own. But when it comes to things that I had gone through, no, I'm not letting them go through what I went through. And I'm praying that they did not have to go because, I didn't tell my parents anything. My mother. I didn't tell her anything until well up in my grown age about any of the stuff that I'm telling you now. So she's aware of it, but she just didn't know about it during that time because I was afraid. I was afraid of how people was going to see me. I was afraid that people were going to say, well, you a hoe, you this and you that. And I wasn't. I was very insecure. I was very filled with low self-esteem. I was very weak-minded. And that was because I didn't have that person there to teach me or tell me what I didn't do. For years, I blamed my father for that. And I don't blame him now because, you can only be taught what you were taught. You can only teach what you were taught. So if you don't know better, how are you going to do better? So that's why I am so heavy on trying to help people, because when I know better, you do better. And I want to help somebody. And this is not for nobody to look at me in no negative way or feel sorry for me, by no means. That's not what I'm doing, because I'm strong. I'm beautiful. I feel much better than I did before. I'm confident, and I have boundaries put in place. So there's a lot of things that I will not accept anymore. So I'm saying all this because a whole bunch of things was bringing back to my memory between this week and this weekend, to the point to where it affected my mood, because I was like, I wasn't my happy-go-lucky self, because during that time in my life, I wasn't happy. So even though I'm over the situation, it was the fact that I reflected back on that and I felt what I felt back then. So this weekend was a very relaxing weekend. Don't get me wrong. It was very peaceful, but it was also emotional because I was refeeling some of the feelings I felt back then. And so, and this is to go out to anybody else out there that may have now see me or know me. And if you're a guy, if you look at me as a piece of meat, I'm going to look at you as someone that is trying to repeat what I went through in the past. Now, I believe in having conversation and communication with people. And I know what I carry. I know what I'm capable of. I know what I can do, and I know what I can't do. All right? So if you come at me and you talk about, certain things about me that turns you on to the point to where you can't control yourself, that is not my issue. That's your issue. So if I don't want to entertain it, I'm not going to. For all of those men out there that think they can constantly make it possible for a female to do what they say because they feel like the female don't know no better. They do. But don't put them in a situation to where they have to feel like they're obligated. Because for some reason, as I was growing up, and I kept on saying to myself, when is it going to be the point to where I can grow? When is it going to be the point that what I say means something? When is it going to be a point to when people can stop trying to make me do what they want to do and listen to what I want to do and let me do what I want to do? Well, honey, that feeling is going to last forever. It's up to you to make sure that you're going to stop it. It's up to you to make sure that you don't repeat that cycle. And the buck stops with me. I don't want that going on with my family. I consider myself a generational curse breaker, and I fought and went through a lot of stuff that was mine and that was not mine to try to keep my family safe and protected. Now, I know I can't keep them protected always. That's why I got God and trust God and believe God that God's going to keep my family safe and protected in areas where I can't. But this whole conversation started off with reflection. So this whole past week and weekend was a reflection. All the work that I had put in, I had a list of stuff to do this weekend. I didn't do none of it for the simple fact that I did not feel like it. And I'm not going to keep running and do things to escape from the fact that I need to feel and do things and go through things so that I can get over it. So whatever work that didn't get placed, I'm going to have to deal with the consequences this week. But my peace of mind is at rest because I went through and refelt the stuff that I felt back then and went through it and realized that I am one strong woman. And there is no denying that. And I've been through a whole lot of stuff. And that does not take anything away from me if I share it, because my intentions is to send this out to those who need to hear it. It is my intentions to help those that need to be helped. It is my intentions. And if I do, it is my intentions to help you. But if I trigger you in a way to where you have to get upset or have issues with me, good. Because that's your conscience dealing with whatever the situation is that you did to somebody else. Treat people with respect. Treat people the way that you want to be treated. And if you are in a state to where you feel like you are just hyperactively in that manner, then understand that it may not be both ways. Don't push your insecurities. Don't push your habits. Don't push your stuff on other people. Deal with your own stuff and let the other person deal with theirs. And if they say they don't want to be bothered or doing something a certain way, respect that. Respect it. Don't push it on somebody else because that's what you want to do. Now, I don't know if this went in the direction that I planned on going to put it in. So I'm going to have to play this back and see what it is to see if I can record it. But I hope that I can, because I believe this message can help somebody out there. So enjoy your Monday. Love yourself. Respect yourself. Forgive yourself. And if you don't know why I say that, now you know. Because I had to overcome a lot of stuff and learn to love myself. And learn to forgive myself and forgive others, because I know it's for me. I don't want nobody having no control over me because I ain't forgiven. You deal with what you did in your conscience. My conscience is clean. And I know I'm forgiven because I forgive me. And my heart is still filled with love. I still love. I still receive love, and I give love. And I'm not going to stop that. So, live and learn. Respect yourself. Set them boundaries. And stick with them boundaries. Talking to myself as well as y'all. So enjoy your Monday. Peace.